Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're here again, taking all that fantastic source material you shared, the research, the notes, and boiling it down to the absolute essentials you need.
Get you right up to speed.
Exactly. And today, oh, this is a good one. We're hacking the path to financial freedom. It's one of my favorites because, honestly, it just flies in the face of everything society screams about success.
It really does. It's that counterintuitive truth, isn't it? You look at, the highlight reels, big VC funding, crypto going to the moon.
Yeah, the flashy stuff.
Right. But the material we've got today, it tells the real story, which is that the actual path to building wealth that lasts is profoundly, incredibly boring.
Boring. And the anecdote they kick off with just sets it up perfectly. We're talking a 7-year journey, right, to financial freedom.
7 years, yeah.
And during that time, some genuinely chaotic stuff happened, like memoir-worthy chaos, living in an Airbnb next to an open drug market.
Bullet holes in the trash cans, apparently.
Yeah. Neighbors doing, well, questionable things. Stuff you'd think must be the turning point.
Those dramatic moments, the things you'd write about, you assume that's the catalyst, the big breakthrough.
But that's the twist, isn't it? The core insight is the exact opposite. Those crazy moments. They were basically irrelevant to the actual financial success.
Completely irrelevant. It wasn't about stumbling onto some magic formula or one lucky break.
No lottery ticket, no perfect stock pick. It was built on, like you said, boring, tiny, unglamorous habits done over and over and over again.
Relentlessly.
So our mission today is pretty clear. We're going to pull out these boring rules. Think of them as a disciplined shortcut. Not to getting rich quick, because that's usually a miss, but to guaranteed progress.
Yeah.
Real steps towards financial independence.
And the underlying theme, we should state it right up front. This whole approach means you, listening right now, you have to be okay with being, well, a little different.
Different how?
Because the vast majority of people, they're struggling financially. And they're struggling because they're doing the exact opposite, pretty much, of everything we're about to dig into.
Okay, it makes sense. Let's get into it then. Section 1. The foundation. Mindset shifts, self-control. This is where it all starts.
Yeah, the bedrock.
And rule number 1 honestly, it sounds a bit edgy, maybe even wrong. Be selfish. Steal from yourself. What does that even mean?
Yeah, it grabs your attention.
Yeah.
But the idea is basically financial self-preservation through, let's call it, benign deception. You have to trick yourself into building wealth.
Trick yourself.
Yeah. The second money lands in your account, paycheck, client payment, whatever you have, to immediately snatch a chunk of it. Take it and hide it. Shovel it into savings or investments before you even get a chance to think about spending it.
So you're robbing your impulsive present self.
Exactly. For the benefit of your future, secure self. It's preemptive financial defense.
And this is where, like you said, it clashes immediately with how most people, especially here in the U.S., handle money. The typical way is, what? Pay the bills.
Right, the leftover saving model. You pay the mortgage, the utilities, the car payment, the credit cards, everything that's shouting for attention. And then maybe, if there's something left at the end of the month...
Which there often isn't.
Precisely. If there's anything left, you think, oh, maybe I should save this.
But that's just setting yourself up for failure, isn't it?
It's a guaranteed recipe for failure. Because life happens, right? There's always something. An unexpected dinner out, that thing on Amazon you suddenly need, a car repair.
Poof. Gone.
It just vanishes. Whatever potential savings existed evaporates. And the statistic we found is frankly alarming. 74% of Americans save 10% or less of their income. 74%.
Wow.
If you're waiting to the end of the month, the odds are overwhelmingly stacked against you. You're likely in that 74%.
So the practical takeaway here, the immediate action is start with 10% minimum. Just decide 10% is gone the second you get paid.
Make it mandatory, non-negotiable. And then the next step is to constantly, relentlessly try to nudge that percentage up. 12%, 15%, 20%.
Okay, but I have to push back a little here. The source material mentions this person achieved like a 50% to 75% savings rate
Right.
for 7 years, even when they weren't earning much initially. I mean, 75%, that sounds completely impossible for most people listening.
Yeah.
Is that kind of extreme sacrifice really what's required?
That's a fair point. And look, 75% is, well, it's the deep end. It's an incredible feat, requires immense discipline or specific circumstances like house hacking, which we'll get to. But no, you don't have to start there. That's the eventual target for hypergrowth, maybe.
So it's about the principle, not the exact number.
Exactly. It's the discipline applied automatically. That's the key. If you start by stealing just 10% from yourself, immediately you're then forced to figure out how to make everything else work with the remaining 90%.
You adapt.
You have to adapt. The 50-75% becomes possible because of that psychological trick we mentioned. You make the savings automatic. You hide the money before your brain even registers it as available spending money.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Precisely. And the underlying assumption is critical here. If your checking account simply showed a lower balance consistently, you'd be forced to figure out one of two things.
Earn more or spend less.
Bingo. You either get creative about increasing your income side hustle, negotiate a raise, start a business, or you get ruthless about cutting expenses. Either way, you avoid that slow creep into consumer debt that traps so many people.
This ties perfectly into the next idea, treating savings like a bill, a non-negotiable bill.
Yeah, think about it. Your rent or mortgage,
Yeah.
your internet, your car insurance, maybe you pay those without question, right?
Of course, you have to.
Because the consequences of not paying are immediate and painful. Your internet gets cut off, you could lose your house, you can't legally drive your car. So if you can make that mental shift, if you can start seeing your savings goal, that 10%, 15%, whatever it is, as equally essential.
Like your entire financial system will crash if you don't pay it.
Exactly. Frame it that way. What if your bank account literally stopped working if you didn't transfer that savings amount first? If you make that mental leap, honestly, the rest of budgeting gets way easier.
Because the decision is already made.
The decision is made. That money is already gone, allocated. You just operate with what's left. Once you accept that 10% or 20% or even eventually 50% of your paycheck just vanishes into your future fund, the foundation is set. You're building wealth by default.
Okay, foundation set. Automatic savings are happening. But money can still leak out, right? Through impulsive decisions.
Yeah.
So the next layer of defense is about stopping those leaks. Impulse control. Enter the 1-month rule.
Ah, the 30-day rule. This is pure behavioral psychology, and it's brilliantly simple but effective. It's all about creating a mandatory cooling off period.
How does it work?
Straightforward. If you get the urge to buy something non-essential over a certain price point, the source suggests maybe $100 as a good starting threshold.
Okay.
You absolutely cannot buy it immediately. You must wait 30 days before pulling the trigger.
30 days. That sounds painful if you really want something shiny and new.
It can feel like it, but the process they describe is kind of genius, especially for online shopping. You go through all the motions,
It's like what?
put the item in your cart, go to the checkout, fill in your shipping details, your payment info, get right to that final confirm purchase button.
Oh, I see where this is going.
And then you stop. You just don't click it, close the tab, walk away.
You get the little dopamine hit of almost buying it.
Exactly. You satisfy that little thrill, that urge to acquire, but without the actual financial hit.
And what usually happens after 30 days?
In the vast majority of cases, according to the source, and frankly, common sense, you've completely forgotten about it. Or your desire has cooled significantly.
Which proves?
It proves two things, usually. One, the purchase wasn't truly necessary. And two, the initial urge was likely driven by something fleeting boredom, a marketing trick, maybe just a bad mood you were trying to fix with retail therapy.
That makes so much sense. It combats that immediate gratification culture. But I have to admit, sticking to that requires real discipline, especially when impulse buys are everywhere. The material pointed out a staggering statistic about supermarkets.
Oh, yeah, that one was wild.
Hmm.
Impulse buys account for something like 62% of supermarket sales. 62%.
That's not even fancy electronics. That's grabbing candy at the checkout, or an extra bag of chips, or that pre-made meal you didn't plan on, just stuff you grab while getting necessities.
It's a huge behavioral tax, like you said. It shows how conditioned we are to just grab things without thinking.
So what's the boring, simple defense against that?
The simplest, most unsexy defense imaginable. Make a list.
Uh-huh. Really? A shopping list.
Especially for groceries. The author found that even when they were getting sophisticated financially, they still fell prey to supermarket impulse buys unless they had a strict list and stuck to it.
No list, no entry.
Pretty much. Or list only. You remove the opportunity for those random, unplanned additions, and you remove the temptation. It's not glamorous, but it plugs that 62% leak. It's a concrete step anyone can take, like today.
Okay, mindset foundation built, impulse leaks plugged. Now we attack the big ones, the major expense categories where people hemorrhage money, often without realizing the scale.
The heavy hitters.
Number one, and this one definitely steps on some toes, it hits right at social status. Never finance stuff that loses value. Specifically, we're talking about the car trap.
Oof. Yeah, this is probably one of the biggest areas where choosing to be a little different has the most dramatic financial impact.
How so?
Well, think about the norm. Your friends, your colleagues, many are probably signing up for 5, 6, even 7-year loans on brand new cars. Payments of $600 and $700, $800 a month are totally common.
For something shiny and new, with that new car smell.
Exactly. But the disciplined, boring choice, it's driving something older. Cheaper? Reliable, yes, but paid for. In cash. Like the Source's example of $5,000 Honda Civic. Simple, gets you from A to B.
Okay, so you save on the purchase price, obviously, but the real power comes after, right?
Absolutely. You take that $600, $800 a month that would have gone to the car payment, plus maybe higher insurance, plus interest, and you immediately redirect it.
Yeah.
Shovel it straight into your freedom fund, your investments.
And the financial reality of new cars is just brutal when you lay it out.
It's staggering. We need to let this sink in. Cars are almost always one of the biggest recurring expenses after housing. And the depreciation, it's a cliff. Most new cars lose something like 60% of their value in the first 5 years.
60%.
Yeah.
Gone. Just vanished into thin air.
Think about that lost opportunity. That 60% is it's like making a down payment on a house or paying a year of tuition and just setting it on fire.
So financing something that drops in value that fast.
The Source puts it bluntly. One of the worst ways you can burn your money imaginable. You're paying interest, paying extra for the privilege of owning an asset that is actively dissolving in value beneath you. It's madness.
Okay, time for the scare straight tactic the author suggests. This calculation sounds powerful.
It is. Sit down and figure out, honestly, how many days you work each month just to cover the cost of your car.
Not just the payment, right?
Everything. The payment, the insurance, the gas, maintenance, taxes, fees. Add it all up. Divide by your daily take-home pay. How many workdays does it cost you?
And the result is often shocking.
People often find they're working a full week, 4 or 5 whole days every single month just to pay for the machine that, ironically, gets them to the job where they earn the money to pay for the machine.
It's like voluntary servitude.
It really is. So, taking the boring path, the cheap, reliable, paid-for car liar, it might not impress the neighbors, but it's arguably the single biggest shortcut to freeing up massive amounts of investment capital, especially early on. You trade status now for actual freedom later.
Makes sense. Okay, next heavyweight expense champion. Housing. The rule here is simple but hard. Live below your means. The housing hack.
Another critical one, because housing is almost universally the biggest line item in anyone's budget.
And the trap here is the pre-approval, right? The bank says you can afford this much.
Exactly. So bank pre-approves you for a $300,000 mortgage, maybe $500,000, maybe more depending on your income. And the immediate temptation is to max that out. Get the biggest, best house you possibly qualify for.
But the discipline strategy is,
Live in roughly half the house you can technically afford, or maybe two-thirds. Whatever it is, leave significant breathing room. Don't stretch yourself to the absolute limit just because the bank says you can.
but the author took this even further, didn't they, with this concept of house hacking. We need to define that because it sounds like a serious cheat code.
Oh, it absolutely can be. House hacking, simply put, is finding a way to make your primary residence generate income. Enough income, ideally, to cover its own costs.
How does that work in practice?
The classic example is buying a multi-unit property. A duplex, a triplex, a fourplex. You live in one of the units yourself.
And rent out the others.
Exactly. You become a live-in landlord. If you choose the property well, screen tenants carefully, and manage it decently, the rent you collect from the other units can cover your entire mortgage payment, property taxes, insurance, maybe even some maintenance.
Which means you're essentially living for free.
That's the goal. Or, like the author actually experienced, you can even get paid to live there. They managed to live for free and generate a small positive cash flow from their residence between age 22 and about 27.
5 years of no housing costs in your early 20s.
Think about the financial impact of that. Eliminating your single biggest monthly expense for 5 straight years. During those crucial early accumulation years, it's like hitting the financial fast forward button.
It completely changes the trajectory. That allows for that massive savings rate we talked about earlier.
Absolutely. It's maybe the clearest example of how a boring, potentially less comfortable choice in the short term, living with roommates, maybe in a smaller space or a less trendy area, dealing with being a landlord can have an absolutely massive asymmetrical impact on your long-term financial future. It's a huge lever to pull if you can manage it.
Okay, so we plugged the leaks, controlled the big expenses, automated the savings. Now the focus shifts, right, from defense to offense.
Exactly. Once the foundation is solid, you pivot to growth. But you can't effectively attack if you don't know where your resources are. Which brings us to system clarity.
This part really resonated, especially thinking about freelancers, small business owners, anyone with irregular income.
Yeah.
The source described the utter chaos of just dumping everything into one checking account.
Oh, yeah. All the income streams, payroll if they had it, business expenses, personal spending, tax money, everything swirled together in one big, confusing pot. They called it financial guessing.
And that chaos is more than just messy, it's paralyzing.
It's the silent killer of growth, because you never really know where you stand. Come tax time, they were just estimating, hoping they'd set enough aside. It creates constant background anxiety, uncertainty. You can't make confident, strategic decisions if you don't have clarity on your numbers.
So the realization wasn't just, I need to track better, it was, I need a better system.
Right. Not just trying harder with spreadsheets, but building a structure that forces clarity. The solution they landed on was physically separating the funds, creating dedicated bank accounts for different purposes, like financial bucketing.
What kind of buckets are we talking?
Things like one account where all income lands first, then automatic transfers out to other dedicated accounts. One strictly for operational business expenses, another crucially for taxes, setting aside the correct percentage immediately.
So the tax money is safe, untouchable.
Yes. Another for payroll if needed, one for owner's pay or personal draw, and of course one for long-term savings and investments.
By splitting it up like that, you always know what's what.
Instantly. You know exactly how much is allocated for taxes, how much is available for reinvestment or expenses, how much you can safely pay yourself. It brings immediate, immense peace of mind.
And it frees up brain power, right?
Massively. Instead of constantly digging through transactions, trying to reconcile things, putting out fires when a surprise bill hits, you can actually focus your energy on the things that grow the business or your income. You stop being an anxious bookkeeper and start being a forward-looking strategist.
That focus on growth leads right into the next big shift: creation over consumption. This is about making a deliberate trade.
A ruthless trade, really. Trading activities that drain your time and energy for activities that build value.
The author had a clear wake-up call moment here. They realized that to escape the cycle of being broke and hating their work, whether it was cleaning buildings or struggling as a new agent, they had to build something they enjoyed, something that could be profitable.
And building takes time, serious time, which meant they had to consciously give up things that were consuming that time, but adding zero real value to their life goals.
What kind of things did they cut?
The big time sinks for many people. Video games were out, mindless TV watching, binging shows mostly gone. And significantly, they were largely off social media for years, just making a conscious choice to reclaim those hours.
That frees up a lot of time if you're honest about how much gets spent there.
A huge amount. And what did they do with that reclaimed time? They didn't just sit around, they reinvested it.
Yeah.
Extra side hustles to bring in cash, deep learning, taking courses, studying industries, and crucially, reading. Reading foundational books on business, finance, mindset.
You mentioned a brainwashing effect from reading, which I loved.
Yeah. The idea is that if you immerse yourself in positive, high-quality information, read 10 genuinely great books on a topic you want master, you can't help but get excited, motivated, and start seeing pathways you didn't see before. You essentially reprogram your thinking through positive consumption.
And the scale of this time trade is just massive when you look at the averages.
It's shocking. The source cited data that the average person consumes something like 6 hours of content per day. PV, streaming, social media, etc. 6 hours.
That's practically a part-time job.
It essentially is an unpaid job of passive consumption. So imagine trading even half of that time, 3 hours a day, and deliberately reinvesting it.
Into what? Learning a skill, building something.
Exactly. Learning to code, writing, starting that side project, studying for a certification, working out, whatever moves the needle for you. The difference in where your life is, financially and otherwise, after 10 months, let alone 10 years, compared to the person who kept consuming. It's just not even comparable.
Not all consumption is bad, obviously, but so much of it is just noise.
Low-value noise that eats your most precious resource, time.
Okay, so frugal habits are locked in, time is reclaimed. Now, the focus has to shift fully to the other side of the equation: earning.
Yes, because frugality, while essential, has a ceiling. You can only cut your expenses down to zero, theoretically. You can only save 100% of your income.
But earning potential
Is theoretically limitless. There's no upper bound on how much you can earn if you build valuable skills or create value for others.
It often feels easier, though, or safer, to just focus on the saving side. Clipping coupons, finding tiny ways to save $5 here and there.
And that's important initially, but it's a productivity trap if you stay there too long. The author realized that figuring out how to negotiate even a small, say, 2% raise at their job.
Or landing one decent client for their side hustle.
Right. That single action could bring in far more money, far more efficiently than spending hours trying to shave pennies off the grocery bill for the entire rest of the year.
So the leverage shifts.
The leverage shifts dramatically towards income generation. Focus your energy on negotiating your worth, starting that business, developing skills that the market pays a premium for. That's where the exponential growth comes from.
And this requires one final crucial mindset piece for this section: actually valuing your time. Because if you don't put a value on it, you'll give it away for free.
This is such a powerful mental exercise. Figure out your approximate effective hourly wage. What do you actually earn per hour you work? Let's say it's $40 an hour just for easy math.
Okay.
Now, Start looking at your time commitments through that lens. Ask yourself honestly, would I pull $40 out of my wallet right now and pay it to watch this next hour of reality TV?
Probably not when you frame it like that.
Almost certainly not. But by watching it, you are effectively spending that $40 of your potential earning or learning time. Multiply that by hundreds or thousands of hours over years. It's a massive hidden cost, a huge potential investment loss.
But then you flip it, right?
Flip it for the positive things. Would I spend $40 or $80 or $120 worth of my time to go visit my parents? Or would I spend that time playing with my kids distraction-free?
Yeah.
Or invest that time in a course that could double my income?
The answer there is usually a clear yes.
A resounding yes. Because those things align with your deeper values or future goals. This simple reframing, assigning a monetary value to your time, helps you filter out the low-value activities that don't pass the test. It pushes you to prioritize what truly matters for your life and your future wealth.
Okay, we're building momentum. We've got the foundation, controlled the leaks, shifted to growth. Now we hit section 4, long-term discipline. Because doing this boring stuff for years, that's the real challenge.
Consistency over time, that's where most people fall off. It's psychologically tough.
Which is why the next rule, while maybe a bit controversial or uncomfortable, is so effective. Hang out with people who make you feel broke.
Huh. Yeah, that one gets a reaction. But it's about harnessing the power of aspiration, not falling into comparison despair.
Explain that difference.
If you constantly surround yourself with people who are financially complacent, maybe even reckless with money, or just content with stagnation, you will naturally, inevitably drift towards their average. It's human nature.
But if you intentionally put yourself around people who are playing a much bigger game,
People who have achieved significant success or who are actively, intensely pursuing ambitious goals far beyond your current level. Yes, you might feel momentarily broke or inadequate by comparison, but that feeling, if you frame it right, isn't negative. It's motivation. It's a benchmark. It shows you what's possible.
it pulls you up. This sounds like the classic rule of 5.
Exactly what it is. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. The source material confirms this holds incredibly true for finances, fitness, career, attitude, everything. Your environment shapes you.
But what if you don't, physically know super successful people right now? How do you apply this?
That's a key point they make. This doesn't always require literal physical proximity. You can achieve a similar effect through mental networking.
A mental networking.
Yeah. Pick your heroes, your role models. Read every book they've written, watch their interviews, listen to their podcasts, study their decisions, immerse yourself in their thinking.
So you internalize their mindset.
You start asking yourself in specific situations, what would insert successful person, Tim Ferriss, Warren Buffett, whoever do right now, how would they approach this problem or this decision? You adopt them as virtual mentors.
And that makes it accessible to anyone.
Totally. The broader idea is just be intentional about your inputs. Seek out environments, online or offline, where people are actively trying to improve themselves. People who are focused on health, learning, family, growth. People who share your values and ambitions.
Like the pickleball analogy they used.
Exactly. If you want to get good at pickleball, you don't hang out at the bowling alley. You go to the pickleball courts where people are playing, practicing, sharing tips. Same principle applies to leveling up any area of your life. Surround yourself with the energy you want to emulate.
Okay, environment helps.
Yeah.
But you still need tools for those moment-to-moment decisions that can derail consistency. Which brings us to the 1-0-10 rule.
This is such a simple, elegant filter. So
Yeah.
powerful for cutting through short-term impulses.
How does it work? 3 questions, right?
3 questions before any significant purchase or even a major time commitment.
Yeah.
First, will this matter in 10 days?
Okay.
Second, will this genuinely make me happier or significantly improve my life in 10 months?
Mm-hmm.
And the big one, third, how about in 10 years? Will this decision have a meaningful, positive impact a decade from now?
And when you apply that long-term lens,
So much stuff just fails the test instantly. That random gadget you saw advertised, the slightly newer iPhone model when yours works fine, that expensive impulse dinner or weekend trip.
probably forgotten in 10 days, let alone 10 months or years.
Exactly. They provide fleeting pleasure, maybe, but have zero lasting impact. They fail the 1-0-10-10 filter.
But the filter works positively too, right?
Yeah.
Identifying what does matter long term.
Absolutely. Think about things like consistently investing money, even small amounts, learning a valuable new skill, playing an instrument, coding, a language, starting that side business, even if it's tiny at first, reading a book that fundamentally changes your perspective.
Those might not feel amazing in 10 days.
Yeah.
Maybe even feel like hard work.
Right? Neutral or even difficult in the short term. But in 10 months, they could be generating income, providing deep satisfaction, opening new doors. And in 10 years, they could be absolutely foundational to a completely different, better life. Those things pass the 1-0-10-10 test with flying colors.
The author had a great way of describing using this rule, like controlling yourself as a video game character.
Yeah, I liked that too. It's about externalizing the decision-making process slightly, taking the immediate emotion out of it and looking at the cause and effect chain logically, like you're optimizing a character's scats for the long game.
So short-term desire versus long-term benefit.
You force your impulsive, short-sighted self to justify its desires against the needs and goals of your future self. Like, okay, eating this entire cake right now feels good for maybe 10 minutes, but does it help the 10-month or 10-year version of me who wants to be healthy, energetic, and able to play with their kids without knee pain?
Probably not.
Definitely not. So the cake fails the test. Choosing the workout or the healthy meal passes, even if it's less fun right now.
It all comes back to that core theme, doesn't it? The single most important rule, the one that inspired this whole deep dive, just be boring.
That's it. At the end of the day, consistency is the magic formula. It's the undisputed, unsexy key to financial freedom and, honestly, success in most meaningful areas of life.
And the evidence from the source material was just overwhelming on this.
Every single person the author interviewed who had achieved genuine financial independence, especially relatively young, in their 20s or 30s, essentially told the exact same story.
Which was?
I picked one, maybe two, simple, disciplined financial habits. Things like maintaining a high savings rate, maybe 50%, or aggressively paying down debt principal, or consistently investing in low-cost index funds. And I just did that month after month, year after year, for 4 years, 6 years, 10 years, without stopping.
That was it. No secret sauce, no complex strategy.
That was the only thing that truly mattered. Not market timing, not finding some exotic investment, not some crazy scheme, just relentless, boring execution of a simple, proven plan over a long time horizon.
And the failure point for most people is
Chasing excitement, trying to get rich quick. They jump into something, expect instant results, and then bail immediately when it doesn't happen overnight or when things get tough or boring. They lack the patience for compounding.
whereas true success.
Finance, business building, getting fit, mastering a skill, even building strong relationships. It almost always comes down to that same unglamorous principle. Showing up, doing the work consistently, over and over, especially when you don't feel like it for a long, long time. You just keep stacking small wins, chasing that gradual growth, and eventually the compound effect takes over and the results become almost inevitable.
Okay, this has been incredibly insightful. To really make it stick, let's wrap up with that rapid-fire implementation checklist from the source. The specific tactical things listeners can do right now to start building this boring consistency. Let's take our time with these, make them really clear.
Sounds good. Actionable steps. First one, pick a simple budget framework and implement it immediately. Don't get bogged down in crazy, complex spreadsheets.
What's the suggested model?
The 60-30-10 structure is really effective and easy to grasp. 60% of your take-home pay goes towards essentials. Housing, food, utilities, transportation, necessary bills.
Okay, the needs.
30% goes towards growth. This is crucial. It includes investing, paying off debt principal, which increases net worth, saving for big goals like a down payment, anything that builds your future financial strength.
And the last 10%.
That's for fun, guilt-free spending. Hobbies, dinners out, entertainment, whatever you enjoy. The beauty is it's planned for. You save and invest first, the 30%, cover needs, the 60%, and then have permission to enjoy the 10% without feeling like you're derailing your goals.
Simple, clear buckets. I like it.
Okay, number 2.
Implement an annual money detox. Pick 1 month out of the year, maybe January after the holidays, maybe your birthday month, whatever works.
And during that month.
Freeze the credit cards. Spend absolutely zero discretionary money. Obviously, pay your essential bills. Buy necessary groceries. But no eating out, no online shopping, no entertainment spending, nothing extra.
What's the point of that? Sounds intense. It's a deliberate reset button. It forces you to confront your spending habits. Unnecessary subscriptions you forgot about might lapse and you won't miss them. You realize where your financial leaks really are. It resets your baseline and your relationship with spending, often making you more mindful afterwards.
Okay, number 3 on the checklist.
Start investing small, but start now. Don't wait until you have a large enough amount. The biggest hurdle is just inertia, not starting at all.
So even tiny amounts count.
Absolutely. Even $10 a week, $20 a paycheck, whatever you can swing. The key is to make it automatic. Set up an auto transfer to your investment account so it happens without you thinking. Then, slowly, periodically, try to increase that amount. Keep stealing a little more from yourself, for your future self. Compounding needs time more than it needs huge initial sums.
Got it. Number 4.
Negotiate on the big stuff. Don't just sweat the small stuff. Where do people often focus their saving energy?
Like we said, coupons. Saving 50 cents on coffee.
Right, which is fine, but low leverage. Instead, focus your negotiating energy where it has the biggest impact. Your house purchase price or rent, your car purchase, your recurring monthly bills, things like car insurance, home insurance, cable internet bills.
Those can add up to thousands.
Exactly. Spending an hour negotiating your car insurance renewal could save you hundreds, maybe thousands over a few years. That's far more impactful than skipping a latte every day for a year. Focus your effort where the potential savings are largest.
Makes total sense. Okay, number 5.
Get 1% better every day. Apply the power of compounding not just to money, but to your skills, habits, and knowledge.
Explain the math on that again. It's counterintuitive.
If you improve just 1% each day, you don't end the year 365% better, which would be 3.65 times better. Because each day's improvement builds on the previous days, the growth is exponential. After 365 days, 1% daily improvement makes you almost 38 times better than when you started.
Wow. So small, consistent effort has massive results.
Massive. So what's a 1% improvement? Read 1 page of a challenging book daily. Do 2 more push-ups than yesterday. Spend 5 minutes learning a keyboard shortcut in a software you use. Tiny, achievable daily gains compound into mastery over time.
Love that. Okay, final rapid-fire rule.
The last one is beautifully simple, almost comical, but a great behavioral check. The idiot test.
The idiot test.
Before you make a decision, especially a financial or behavioral one, ask yourself, dead seriously, would an idiot do that? It sounds silly, but it works. It forces a moment of objective reflection. Would an idiot take out a 25% interest payday loan? Yes, okay, don't do it. Would an idiot buy a timeshare on impulse? Yes, okay, don't do it. Would an idiot scroll social media for 3 hours instead of working on their goals? Probably. Okay, maybe you rethink that.
It cuts through rationalization.
It's a surprisingly effective, blunt tool for stopping yourself from doing things, deep down are counterproductive. Just apply that simple, slightly insulting filter.
Fantastic list. What really shines through all of this, from the big picture down to these rules is just the incredible, relentless power of time when combined with discipline.
7 years. That's what the source highlighted. 7 years of boring, consistent action fundamentally altered their entire life trajectory. It wasn't overnight magic. It was just time multiplied by consistent effort.
It's compounding in action applied to behavior and finances.
Exactly. Applied to mindset, skills, savings, everything.
So let's leave our listeners with a final provocative thought based on that. If 7 years of consistent financial discipline can lead to freedom, what happens if you apply that same principle elsewhere?
Yeah, think about this. Pick one specific skill, one habit. Maybe it's writing, maybe it's learning an instrument, maybe getting fit, maybe building a specific business skill. What if you truly committed to improving that one thing by just 1% every single day for the next 10 years?
10 years of tiny, daily, compounded improvements.
How fundamentally different, how unrecognizable in a positive way would that area of your life be at the end of that decade? The potential is staggering.
So the call to action is pick something.
Pick one boring thing from today's dive. Maybe it's setting up that automatic 10% savings transfer right now. Maybe it's putting the 30-day rule into practice the next time you want to buy something online. Just pick one and automate it. Commit to it. That's the first step.
It's boring.
And end free. That's the journey.